Hello there, fellow electricians. Rodamon here. Thank you for tuning in to Stationeers Brutal Vulcan. Episode 36, double the grids, half the burnout. Oxygen. Because I did just, bottom out oxygen. I'm curious how 200? Oh my goodness. Yeah, that farm's awesome. So I'm going to empty out the current pipes. And we're at... I could probably breathe. Let's, here we go. Yeah, I'm breathing. Breathing in the base. Because it's pressured and oxygened enough that it's a breathable environment. Sweet. All right, back to what we're working on. So if we're separating out the greenhouse, the grow light logic needs to be... So this logic here, these A writer, A memory, I need to move. Because they are... I think this grow light logic, actually, I'm going to physically move into the greenhouse. So I'm going to rip up all this logic here and redo it. Because leaving it here doesn't make it easy to separate out. So the grow light reader is reading the vertical daylight sensor. So that's another issue. I'm going to need another daylight sensor because I'm separating it out. So let's get a kit sensor and install it before the storm hits. So, in order to... what's here? This is the O2 filter. Oh, that's going to need to move too. Past me was a jerk. Made it really hard to do this proper. So, I'll have a daylight sensor here. And we'll just snap it. I think what I'll do in order to find this spot is... That should make it easy to spot it. So let's go install this and name it Soybeans. Thriving towards fruiting. Cool. Still got 3 minutes. Where'd I put it? In my belt? Oh, okay. Okie dokie. This is the greenhouse daylight sensor. And then this is going to be subsequently named the solar daylight sensor, because it is now serving separate purposes. So the logic can be moved and will work. And this is what the storm looks like. When a storm's incoming, it's yellow. I don't know what kind of storm it is. Could be solar, could be ash. We'll see. It's probably not solar. It's nighttime. Well, I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, it's yellow when it's coming, and then it's red when it's here. All right. Before I continue with the logic, the power splitting, I'm gonna hydrate again because I'm down to 34. Although I suppose I could have hydrated in the base. Not that the base is breathable, but my water bottle filler is over here. I could move the water bottle filler into the airlock so I can access it from either side, now that I have a breathable base. But I would still need to probably cook potatoes in the crew quarter unless I want to, like, shove the microwave in the airlock. That'd just be weird. So, I think I'm just going to make it a habit of coming in here to eat. Because it's more sensible. Why am I making another potato? I didn't need it, but whatever. There we go. Can you rainstorm type off the weather station? I don't believe so. Weather station gives you... Oh, maybe next weather hash gives you the storm type, but I don't know how to read the hash. But that's probably the case. Weather station. 0 is no storm, 1 is incoming storm, 2 is... Yes. So name hash is the type of storm that is incoming. So you can read it. So you would need to read name hash off of it. And if you're wondering about that, because I'm going to need to move this logic writer anyway, let me just do that, because I am also curious. So logic reader, this thing pointed to the weather station. Storm weather station, and then variable name hash. Okay, that doesn't help. I don't know what a 121046 is. Yeah. It's an ash storm. Because I can hear it. It's the other hash? Oh, okay. Next weather hash. Okay, that's not helpful. Power mode, error, activate lock, on, required power, reference ID. I don't think it's human readable. Yeah, the next weather hash is still integer. Oh, it's this. Okay. It's the. Okay, I got it. But whatever, it doesn't matter. It's possible to do. It just requires some interpretation. And there we go. Now we have the storm LED as a like count timer for how long we've been in the storm. So back to the original goal. We're going to need to move the grow light logic into the farm, which means moving the flash mode away. So let's do the flash mode away first. That's pretty easy. So just a reminder, all this memory did was allow me to input, change the types for like LEDs. It was very, very, very rudimentary, just so that I didn't have to keep printing it up. That's the output, right? Yeah, that's input. Okay. So, that's all it does, and therefore, it's... I just need to move it a bit. I probably didn't even need to move it a bit, it's just more elegant to be moved. A... flash mem... Oh, that needs to be a writer. So the only input is the A flash mem, which makes it easy, and the output is variable. All right. Now that's done. Power should be at like 100% because that wind turbine is going ham. Yep. Let's clean up some of the cables. And then the grow light logic is gonna be disrupted. But because it was all on the same wall panel, I think it will be easy to just like reinstall, relocate it. And this is going to be like a multi-stage process because this is just one piece of it, and I see the time that I've got remaining, so I won't be done with it, but it will be a process. The other thing is, if I really wanted to separate it out, I would have the APC like here leading to the greenhouse, which I think makes the most sense. So everything downwind of this cable becomes greenhouse cable. It would make sense if the cables themselves were physically a different color as well, but that would entail rewiring everything, which I'm honestly considering. Or like spray painting it, but like I would need to filter out the gases before it killed plants. But I could rewire it so that the greenhouse wires are like green, which I think is pretty logical. So the O2 filter compare logic will have to move out of here because that's part of the HVAC system, essentially, and should not be in here. And then some of this cross wiring will need to be resolved because I'm not gonna want wires feeding back, because that's how you get blowouts. If you have two APCs feeding the same network, you'll exceed the 5 kilowatt max and kaboom! But regardless, let's set up the logic. So I will set up the logic on the ceiling because there's a lot of ceiling space. So we're going to do the reader. So the reader is reading the vertical angle for grow light logic. Sorry, I'm really messy with my tools today. So this is, input is the greenhouse. This is going to be so much easier when it splits. Oh, good lord. I've been calling everything farm up until now, so maybe I should rename this farm. That makes a bit more sense. Farm... What was it called? Farm daylight sensor. Okay. Where? Oh, there. I passed it. Oh, there. There it is. Farm daylight sensor, and the variable is the vertical angle. Done. All right. Next is the memory for it. I'll stick the memory here. Grow light logic memory. And this is going to be set to a value of 90, which is half of the day. So 50% on, 50% off. Again, this little solar angle, the way the sun solar angle works, it goes from 0 to 180 to 0. So 90 is when whether it's lesser than or greater than is just half the day either end, you know, of the cycle. But whatever, there it is. And I stuck it there just because it fits nicely and doesn't take up a lot of space. Done, that's wired up. Then we have the comparison. So this is the math logic for compare whether it's greater or lesser than. And honestly, I don't really care either way. Now, the current plants that are growing in here might get a little bit too much light as a result of... In fact, let's physically turn off these lights because I think I'm probably causing illumination stress at the moment. So let's hook up the compare unit. And then the last will be the writer. Oh my god, come on. Which can go in there. Actually, batch writer. Because it has to write to more than one grow light. Alright. This is the grow light batch writer. And the grow light logic compare. Grow light logic compare takes the reader and the memory and compares them. So grow light logic reader is less than, it's arbitrary, greater than, less than, it doesn't really make any difference. And then the grow light memory, which currently is true. 63 is less than 90. And then the batch writer takes the grow light math. And then batches out all grow lights, whether they are on or not. So I'm going to actually override this and do greater than. That way the grow lights don't turn off, or turn on. But if I did less than, they would turn on. So, I just tested it. It worked. Let me get rid of that solar angle now. And the grow light logic has been moved into the greenhouse so that it can be separated out from the logic grid. Holy hell, these ferns grew freaking fast. It's already like a full fern field. Wow, that's fun to say. Alright. Good. Good. Now, this vent... Okay, let's I know I'm almost overtime, but, I'm gonna make the decision this vent, because it's really honestly part of the HVAC system, is going to be on that side. So the power is being split here, essentially. And this is going to make it a lot easier to separate out the two halves. So what is this? The aux filter. These should not actually be flashing just yet. I know I'm going to be moving these, but like, let's get them working. So what is... The input should be the O2 filter. Oh, let's go backwards. O2 filter. Wait, is that not exposed on the same data network? And then the farm CO2 percent. How is that? What happened there? Oh, are these data networks separate already? Let's check. Maybe that's the issue I'm running into. So this is 64,121. Should be 64,121 everywhere. Yep, 64,121. All right, let's check the other half. Maybe it is separated somehow already. I don't know why it would be, because it should still connect via that cable. So 64,121. Storm's over. Cool. Yeah, this is separate. Because that is not somehow connected to the rest of the grid. I actually split it. Got it. So I detected an issue that I hadn't, yeah, I essentially shut off all my HVAC accidentally. Alright, it's back on now. So now the two grids are the same. I just united them, or union them. So 64102, 64102, and now those O2 filter warnings should work. I think what I'm going to do is go a little overtime and move the O2 filter logic now. But I'm going to need to quickly hydrate. You know what? Take advantage of an oxygenated base. Okay. So the farm CO2% logic reader, I'm going to keep that on the farm circuit so that all these panels are on the farm circuit. So I'm going to have to change the wiring for them as well. But for now, I'm just going to move the O2 logic stuff because that's HVAC stuff. That should not be in here. And redesigning that is, like, not fun, but at least I know how I'm going to handle it. So it shouldn't be too bad. So this should turn on just fine. Yep. It just needed access to it needed access to that pipe analyzer, and I had accidentally snipped access to the pipe analyzer, so I could turn it back on and the logic is fine. I'll clean up the cables later for this nonsense. For this nonsense, but yeah, I'll clean it up now, actually. Because that's staying on inside the farm. This stuff isn't moving. Okay, cool. One step closer to removing the farm from the rest of the grid. So the only other things that I really need to do is these panels. These panels need to... Maybe I could do them now. Because it's not a big deal. So these LED screens should be included in the farm's network. I might not actually do the color coding just because of how obnoxiously labor intensive that would be. To, like, remove every cable and then paint it green. All that I really need to do is take a network analyzer and analyze what network it's on, and, like, that's it. So let's remove the... Ooh, actually, I don't know where that cable goes. Is that the cable I just made? Oh yeah, those are the cables I just made. So these panels snip here. And what I will need to do is the, if I want the farm air pressure, or actually, if I want this farm CO2%, this pipe analyzer is going to need to be on the farm's network, not the HVAC network. So this pipe analyzer, I need to change the cables for as well. I understand that this is probably getting confusing, but I'm trying to keep it in my head. So I'm rerouting the cables here, and then this thing needs to be connected to the farm because it uses that's part of the farm's network. So the farm CO2% logic here is probably flashing because I just, like, disconnected its data. Yep, it's flashing. And that's correct. It should be flashing. Now it should be fine. Cool. So that is now part of the farm network. These two vents are not part of the farm network. This coolant active air intake is part of the farm network and shouldn't be. So this thing needs to be rewired as well. There we go. So now it can be rewired properly. The N2 farm active vent, I don't care. It could be part of the farm network. It's not a big deal. But the coolant definitely shouldn't be, which is why it's being removed. So let's fix that pipe, and then we'll set up the oxygen logic. So yeah, going a little over time, but some projects suck to stop right in the middle. It would be a headache to try to pick it back up. All right. For whatever reason, power was cut here, so I got to figure out why. So power here. Oh, yeah. Okay, I see. Because I removed the pipe analyzer over there. So I just need to reconnect the HVAC again. And now this coolant outflow logic compare has issues. I'll figure out why, but all the other logic here is fine. To not confuse people in the future, let me fix the cables here so it doesn't look like something blew up or got removed or whatever, because that's just confusing. So this logic unit has issues. Why? Input 1 is wrong. So this coolant outflow logic compare was probably doing the reader. Coolant. Oh God, what was it? Outflow is when it's pressure. Oh. The data network on the coolant tank isn't connected. That's what's going on. I didn't realize the data port was being used, but yeah, obviously, because I need to get the pressure for this tank. So, that's easy. Fixed. Because yeah, this tank is my coolant tank, and I need to know what pressure it's at for it to work. Yeah, some things you really can't afford to lose your plays in, exactly, and that's why I'm just like pushing ahead. Alright, that's still flashing, but let's logically rock through this. So the coolant outflow is its own logic. So the outflow logic memory, the way this is set up, actually, I'm not strictly sure I need this. I'm going to turn it off. It's because I've replaced the outflow logic with a back pressure regulator. So, to explain, previously what it was set up was when the solar angle was around 28 degrees, it would flow out. Meaning that around high noon, we would dump air from our coolant tank. Essentially, the big picture was the coolant tank is something that just automatically refreshes. So we just dump heat into this giant tank of random atmospheric air to put the heat somewhere. And then every noon, we push air out of it, and at night, we pull air into it. So it's just being recycled continually. The thing is, with a back pressure regulator, I don't know if that's even necessary, because the back pressure regulator is just constantly making sure it doesn't overpressure past 40. So I could potentially remove the outflow logic entirely. I'm not convinced it's required. Which means the outflow logic memory I'll leave there because it's not drawing power, but I might not need it, like, full stop. So we'll have to consider. So now, we'll set up the oxygen filter warnings, because I broke it. So we want a slot reader. a memory, a logic writer, and a compare. Wiring it all up, and then I'll label it. Okay, wired. What's the... Won't that affect the temperature differential for cooling efficiency? Maybe, and I'll hook it back up if it's an issue, but like I'm not convinced it is. It's one of those I'm not sure, so we'll have to wait and see. Okay, so this is O2 filter, slot reader, O2 filter logic compare, O2 filter logic memory, O2 filter logic writer. The memory should be set to 5. Which is 5%. When the filter's down to 5%, it's a problem. The slot reader. So the input is the O2 filtration unit. The slot is slot 1. And the variable is its quantity. Oh, that's not slot 1, that's slot 2. So 21? Yes, 20%, it's rounding. But okay, that's correct. So slot reader. Got it. Then the comparator is if the O2 filter slot reader is less than O2 filter slot reader is less than the O2 filter logic memory. Then throw the error. So this is the O2 filter flashing light. Will be the out. O2 filter flashing light. And the input is the O2 filter logic compare. And whether it is on or not. Proof that it works. Well, one, it works. Cool. So we rewire the O2 filter logic warnings. And we could, if we wanted to, replicate that setup for the other filters if we wanted. You know, we just do this, print, copy, paste, copy, paste, copy, paste. You know, if we so chose. But, yeah, alright. That is now set up proper. Cool. Little hydration. And
oxygen critical. Pressure critical.
Maybe I shouldn't do it like that. My lungs are like, ooh! Don't die now. Because we're so close to separating out the power grid, I am just gonna finish it, because I'm like 99% of the way there. It doesn't make sense to like stop at the 99% mark. So. The only thing... What happened is, like, I took my helmet off and put my helmet on, but the atmosphere outside of my suit is way more carbon dioxide than my suit's used to. So when I put the helmet on, the helmet was full of CO2, and it was like it was an issue. So the only thing I will say is, for me to truly do this, it should be heavy watt cables leading up the APC, and heavy watt cables coming off of that, because that transformer right there is like no longer correct. Essentially, everything upstream of the APCs should be heavy watt cables from the batteries. So I can be done, but not done, because it doesn't protect me from a 5K brownout. Technically speaking. But I will separate it out all the same. So, in order to separate it out, I need some cables, and then the transformer. I like, just for safety, to put like a heavy watt cable between these two so it can't get weird. So this is the farm transformer. Set to 4990. And the farm area power controller. And the base area power controller. The power cable, actually, let's print some heavies. So, this that's off. That is correct, because I haven't actually separated it out yet. So what we'll need to do is to run heavy cables out to the batteries. So up until now, all the power coming off the batteries were transformed to 5 kilowatts, but all of these cables here coming off the batteries will have to be larger watt cables. And okay, I already see a problem here. I'm bumping into wires I don't want to bump into. Then this is the farm wire, or rather, this is just leads to the farm transformer. I got to do some maze work here. But this is where the battery cables will have to be replaced. So I think I'm just like close enough to being done that this is maybe a reasonable spot to end, where we will have to feed heavy watt cables to this for next stream. So I'm gonna have to come up with an elegant-ish way for this heavy cable to meet up with this thing. Maybe to run up around. Yeah, okay, that actually would not be too ugly. To run above this vent, interconnect, run down, and back to the batteries. But that's all that needs to be done to set up our two grids, so that both APCs draw off the battery, and then they'll be essentially combined. And at this point, I think I need probably all the heavy cables that are left in the amount of gold that I have, but I will hydrate and eat before ending the stream. Oh, my poor lungs. My lung damage. I probably need a medical pill as the next project, just to see what can be repaired. My lungs are like, I hate you. All the more reason to use the crew quarter. Because the crew quarter's safer. And then maybe, you know, liquid nitrogen at some very future point. Yeah, I'll just do it. I'll just it's like 3 more minutes to just do the heavy cabling. Future me likes me more not leaving a project 99.9% done. Okay. So there shouldn't be any power disruptions in the base because I have heavy batteries to keep things on while I snip. That there is a problem. Oh, is this even... yeah, okay. That's a problem that can be easily fixed. This is going to be a little ugly, but it's whatever. That's part of the base's data and power network, and now it's been just moved so it doesn't run through that wall. Alright, now I'm going to disrupt the power to the APC. I might not have enough heavy cables for this. But let's, just to be able to actually physically see the cabling, gotta close this for a moment. So as you can see, there's no cable leading up to the APC. It is snipped. And I'm going to quickly snip everything, and then this APC is no longer needed. This APC is, if I have any APC, it's going to need to be the heavy one, because obviously the data network, or the power network coming off these batteries will purposefully exceed 5 kilowatts. Right, that's the whole point of this, is we have a base that now draws more than 5 kilowatts, so I'm going to need the cables leading to the base to be greater than 5 kilowatts. But these heavier cables, I should not exceed its, like, I'm not going to have a base that will need these super cables. Like, that's just so much power. Okay. This APC is now charging. Wow, that battery really drained quick. All my batteries are connected heavy cables. Heavy cables go in. And then the way to confirm that this works is the network... Oh, that's not my network analyzer. The network for my regular base is 64512. And the network for here is the same because this cable hasn't been snipped. Yes. So this cable here gets snipped. Meaning, okay, there we go. Storm is still online. Meaning Farm is off. Farm is on. And if I'm not mistaken, we have separated out the two networks. So this is 650 and this is 664. The power actual needs are separated out. So the farm is using about a 600 and a kilowatt, between 650 watts and a kilowatt of power. And it is physically separated out from the rest of the network. So this is the farm network and this is the base network. And that pulls a kilowatt out of the base network so that we should not be browning out. And then the heavy watt cable is 625. And the heavy watt cable is feeding both APCs. So both APCs are now, separate. And we have officially split the greenhouse power grid. So the next priority is to vote for a priority because that one's done. Yep, and there's nowhere for this to be. So transformer to nothing. And that, friends, is where I am going to leave off, having gone a little overboard over time, but like it was needed to finish the project. There was a lot of like cabling and snipping and making sure everything was on the correct side of the network. But I think, if I'm not mistaken, all the logic should be intact. I'll do it one quick check. So all logic there looks fine. The farm logic, I mean, it looks, I'll double check it. But just to make sure I didn't screw up, farm logic is fine. Grow light logic is fine. Plants are more than fine. They're seeded. So, like, they're ready to be harvested. But I'm not doing that right now. Yeah, it looks like everything is copacetic. Everything's fine. And there was no issues. So this logic is fine. This logic is fine. Yep. So I split the two networks. The logic didn't blow up. I didn't check some of the logic on the wall outside. I suppose I could do that just as like a sanity check to make sure I really didn't screw anything up. But, yep. Battery logic is fine. Storm logic's fine. The arc logic is fine. So, no issues. And the, solar tracking is fine. So, officially, split the grids. Nothing failed. And logically, it's just heavy watt cable to two APCs. One APC goes to the farm. The other APC goes to the base. Even the base could be split. The HVAC could be split. Or the crew quarters could be split. Or the printers could be split. Printer splitting might be the cheapest. But regardless, that project is done. And this is where I'm going to end. Thank you for tuning in to Stationeer's Brutal Vulcan, which originally streamed live on Twitch. If you have any questions for me, let me know in the comments below. If you'd like to catch a live stream of mine, Rottamont.com has my stream schedule and countdown timers to upcoming streams. If you'd like to join my online gaming community on Discord, Rottamont.com has a link to it, as does the description of this video. Thank you so very much for watching. Special thank you to my Twitch subscribers, Patreon patrons, and viewers like you that support the channel and made it all the way to the credits. Thank you so very much. I hope to catch you next episode or an upcoming stream. Farewell, fellow Vulcanites.